but it feels like so many people have been rewarded by sticking with it and just
Mhm.
continuing and being. I think that's where most people fall down is they fall down the discipline part, right? They don't post
Yeah.
consistently enough and they give up too early.
Treading water is the same as drowning to people like you and me. You better start swimming. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Rob Green.
Well, welcome to today's podcast. We've got Malina McIvor with us. Hi, Malina.
Hello, Rob.
Another one of our series of affiliate creators for TikTok shops who's absolutely crushing it. So thanks for joining us, Malina. And I'd love to talk a little bit about kind of your story. You've got a little bit of a unique twist on it because you've been part of a course that's grown up and you're an affiliate for them. But tell us, everybody, how you got started on being an affiliate for TikTok.
Yeah, essentially about August of 2023, I was seeing orange shopping carts all over my TikTok, and I was like, what the heck is this? So I ended up Googling it, and I said, I know that the person posting this is making some type of money off of this, but I don't know how. So I Googled it quickly. It said, hey, you got to have 5,000 followers, you make a commission. So I was like, okay, that's awesome. So I had 5,000 followers. I had 5,100 at that point in time. I had been posting on TikTok for like 3 years. Nothing consistent, like maybe once a week, if that. Nothing consistent. But over those 3 years, I had just slowly gotten 5,000 followers. So I started posting like that day. I had something at my house. I had a beach waiver actually. I posted it that day. I used my sample coupon. I got like 2 products. I didn't sell a single one. And then on week 3, I got a hate comment on a video. And the video blew up to like 26 million views. And then that month of September, I ended up taking home 86 grand. So after that month, I was like, I am never going to stop this.
Wait,
And
I
I've
want
been
to be
going
clear
ever
on this for
since.
everybody listening. It sounds unbelievable, Malina, but
It
you made
does.
$86,000 in commission
And
in
commission, yeah,
September of last year. Profit. It's all profit essentially.
it was profit. My sales were over 400 grand that month. I do want to caveat that with that's definitely not average or typical.
Sure.
Like
Of
I
course.
said, I had 5,000 followers and the video got 26 million views. I now have 130,000 followers and I have not topped that number since. So, is it still great money? Yes, but I think it just shows the potential of what one viral video can do if you get one.
And that was right at the beginning of when shops went live too. So I think there
Yes,
weren't quite as many people creating or focusing on it at all too. So that probably created an
correct.
opportunity for you. But that's
Correct.
regardless of, I agree it's not typical and not every video, not even many videos do that, right? But
Yeah.
that's absolutely astonishing.
Astonishing. Yeah, it changed my whole life. It was
That's
astonishing. Yeah.
that's awesome. So that got you excited. You're committed. You're like, I'm all in on this. What's happened over the last almost year since then?
So over the last year since then, after that video took off, I was like, oh, this is easy. This is easy. I'm gonna make 150 grand next month. And then no other video took off for like weeks. But that video was sustaining me for a couple months. So this is the time when I had to actually learn how to make good content. So
Okay.
in my opinion, that video that went viral, it really wasn't that good. It was, I will fully admit some of it was luck. So over the next couple months, it was figuring out how to actually make good content that can convert a sale. And that is what I figured out. And then once I figured it out and I was consistently making sales, I was consistently having a video that would go viral. That's when I was like, okay, maybe I should start coaching. And people were begging me to coach because I was going on live and giving out free advice. And I was posting videos with free advice, and I had people begging me to do one-on-ones. And I was like, no, I give it away for free. I'm not going to charge. So I definitely had to have a mind shift switch there to where it was like giving this out for free and helping people all day long. Is it great? Yeah, but it's not
Mm.
sustainable. I can't sustain this the rest of my life. And as I grew bigger on TikTok, it became a lot harder. And that's when I started selling Evolution. I'm about to hit 100K in digital product sales. So I've kind of expanded like from just selling physical products to now digital as well.
Let's double click back on how you attacked learning because I think this is a big challenge in for most creators. But
Mhm.
95% probably. How do I create content that actually leads to a sale? isn't just informative? How did you learn that?
So back then there wasn't courses.
Okay.
TikTok Shop was so new. Now it's very easy. If someone asked me that, I would just say, "Oh, you buy Evolution. It'll teach
Yeah.
you. You know, everything in there it teaches." But back then there wasn't that. It was so new. There was no courses. Nobody had figured it out. So the biggest way that I did it was I just watched viral videos.
Okay.
So I would study viral videos. I would go watch the viral videos. I would type in my search bar on TikTok. TikTok is, I believe, the second biggest search engine in the world, followed by Google. So I would search how to make a good TikTok shop video, how to go viral on TikTok. And a lot of it is misinformation and not correct. But by studying the videos that actually went viral, I was like, okay, what did this have in common? What did that have in common? And I guess the biggest thing that I noticed that they all had in common was scroll stopping hooks. So I hammered down on my hooks. Now I have 3 hooks in almost every video that I post.
Wow. Okay. Scroll stopping hooks. That was the big unlock for you.
Yes.
Okay. And then tell us a little bit about the, no pun intended, but the evolution of evolution here.
So evolution started when the CEO took a one-on-one with me. She messaged me about a week before I started offering them and said, "Can I get a one-on-one with you?" And I said, "No, I just give it away for free. I don't do that." And then about a week later, I was like, "Why not?" So I messaged her back and said, "Hey, I'm going to do them." And she booked immediately. I did her one-on-one and I taught her everything I knew about TikTok Shop. And then that first month, she made 10K. I mean, it wasn't 86 grand, but 10K is a big freaking deal.
Yeah.
So, she was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so crazy." So we're still texting because with my one-on-one, I did give 30 days of support. So I
Wow.
was still communicating with her. And then about 2 months later, she messaged me and was like, "I really want to make a course on this. There doesn't seem to be any," because there really wasn't. There was only like 1 or 2 out there. And all I had really heard about them was negative. So she was like, "I really want to make a course to teach people how to do this. Do you want to do it?" And I was like, "No, never. I would never sell a course. That's just weird. Like, I'm not selling a course." She said, "Well, you just guest speaker in it." And I was like, "Okay, I will." So I spoke in there. I gave a little bit of my advice. I didn't put it together or do anything like that. And then
Sure.
launch day, I posted it and had really good results as a result of the 6 months I worked for free. So I posted it, sold quite a few, and then that's how I started with doing that as well.
And so you're an affiliate for Evolution.
I'm an affiliate, yes.
You were the genesis of it, I guess, because she took a lot what she learned from you, built a course, and
Yeah.
then you became an affiliate. So I'm a typical structure where they give you a percentage of the course fee, and then the
Yes.
affiliate receives that as a commission.
Yeah, so I get 50%. So
Okay.
it's the course when we launched was 197, so every time I sold one, I would make 50%, which was 98.50.
That seems pretty reasonable.
Very, yeah, pretty reasonable, yeah. And someone actually asked me this I was just on live before I got on this podcast, and they asked me about that, and they were like, "Do you wish that you were the one in charge of
Mm.
Evolution?" And I said, "Well," I said, "the best thing about not being the CEO of Evolution is the fact that I'm not the CEO of Evolution. And the worst thing is that I'm not the CEO of Evolution because there's so many advantages. There's definitely pros and cons to being an affiliate. I'm not dealing with
Yeah.
any of the legal issues. I'm not
Yeah.
dealing with like chargebacks. I'm not dealing with fees. I'm not dealing with people if they're unhappy. Like that's all on the CEOs. I do show up on most of the Zoom calls we have, but I don't have to. I'm not the CEO. I'm just an affiliate. So
Right.
I think that's the biggest pro is that like, yeah, I can make really good money and I don't have to be on top of all of this, but the biggest con is that I'm not on top of all of it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
me,
It is
sorry.
different to own it, right? It's different. It's a different situation.
Yeah, and it's not just the one that I did the one-on-one with. It's actually 2 owners,
Oh, okay.
Judy and Michelin. But it all started, yeah, with me and Judy.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, it's still got to feel good with the output that's come because of that. I mean, it's still got to feel really good inside to
Oh
see that you're
yeah.
helping others because you can tell that you want to. I can tell that you want to.
Oh yeah, that was definitely my whole goal when I started. When I started TikTok Shop, I mean, I was paycheck to paycheck. We live in a double wide. Like, not that I wasn't blessed. I had a roof over my head. I had food in front of my face, but like we were definitely paycheck to paycheck. So to change my whole life as quickly as I did, I wanted to tell everybody. I mean, I was trying to tell people at McDonald's, like ordering my food, like, did you know you can do TikTok shop? And so many people, when I first started talking about it on TikTok, were like, what's the name of your course? And I was like, I don't sell one. And they were like, oh. I was like, I just want everybody to try this at least, at least try.
Yeah.
So I kind of phrased content. It's on my merch. It says Mama Malina made me post it. So a lot of people will post videos saying like Mama Malina made me post it, and then they'll share their journey about like how I made them start TikTok and now they've done this, this, and this. So it's really cool. That's definitely my favorite part of the job.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
It's got to be feel really rewarding. I mean,
very.
I've talked to quite a few affiliates. I'm on the brand side of things on TikTok, and it feels like an American dream. I keep hearing this story over and over again, and I know
Yeah,
not everybody has success, and most people struggle with it. I
yeah,
understand that, but it feels like so many people have been rewarded by sticking with it and just
hmm,
continuing and being. I think that's where most people fall down is they fall down the discipline part, right? They don't post
yeah,
consistently enough, and they give up too early.
yeah, definitely. A lot of people. A couple people have asked me just this week, like, hey, can you audit my account? I haven't really made any sales. And I go looked at one and she had 4 videos in 2 weeks. And I was just like, ma'am, you don't have to post 3 times a day, but the top affiliates that are making the sales are telling you, hey, we're showing up every single day, 7 days a week, 3 times a day.
Yeah,
So it's, do you want to do that? If you don't want to do that, then maybe TikTok Shop's not for you. But I definitely think that you need to have good quality, but you also need to be able to replicate that quantity.
yeah. No, I agree with you. That's what we've seen on our side. So you've had tremendous success, and I bring this up on a few other podcasts, but I want to bring it up with you. Talk to me about your opinion on spark codes, because I feel like the spark codes are the bane of my existence right now as a seller. And for those of you that don't know, spark codes allow a seller to use a creator's video and run ads on it. That's what the spark code is for. So talk to me about your take on spark codes.
So Spark codes this year, mind you, the beach waiver money was last year.
Got it.
2024, 95% of my money has come from Spark codes that I've made. So they're not the bane of my existence, but they
Good.
can be. I personally have had no issue. I have not gotten, can I say screwed over on
Yes,
that?
you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have not gotten screwed over by a spark code, but I've seen so many people that have. So just to kind of protect myself, I was giving out 365-day spark codes, which means they basically have access to promote my content for 365 days. But there was there was some disconnect where they could essentially change your link. So you would have these
Mm.
spammy companies finding like my video with 26 million views of the beach waiver, asking for my ad code and then switching the link to their knockoff curling iron. And so people would buy off. Does that make sense, Rob?
Sort of, because I'll be honest with you, I don't know how to do that, Melina. When we get a spark code, all we do is put the spark code into the seller side of things, and then
Yeah.
that allows us to run ads. That's all
So
we've ever used it for.
there's some type of disconnect here or lack of education, because you're not the first seller that I've heard say that. There's so many
Yes.
sellers that say we have no idea. But
Yes.
I have physically seen it with my own eyes, because my ads, like I'll link one product and then I'll see my product come up on my video on my FYP as an ad with 20 links on it instead of one. So,
Now, let me ask you this, Melina. Is the original video with the product you promoted one of those 20?
yes.
Okay, so I
So,
have heard people do this. They're adding more products to their showcase. So it's like it's highlighting like 20 products on that same video as opposed to one product. And then my understanding is then the creator doesn't get paid on the other 19. Is that how it works?
how it was working until I figured out a couple months ago when I saw that. I think another reason that contributes to my success is that I'm constantly testing things.
Oh, good.
Like I have multiple accounts where I'm like, let me test this, see if this works. Let me test this, see if this works. One thing I tested was this. So I had one of my ads come up, it had 20 links on it. 19 of the products that were on that link were not in my were in my showcase.
Oh,
One was not. So I
Okay.
bought the one that was not in my showcase to see what would happen, and I got the commission for it.
Oh, okay.
So I do know that they're working on this. I got a message. I have a manager like directly with TikTok Shop, and they did tell us like less than a week ago that they were like heavily focusing on fixing this. So
Yeah,
that's
I had a
encouraging.
call yesterday with my account manager at TikTok Shops, and they're in beta now to
Mm,
remove spark codes. I think to give the ability for if you tag my product, for example, then I can go out and just run a video to it, which to me is beneficial to both sides. Like, I mean,
exactly.
I'm spending money, and the creator gets paid. Like, it's a no-brainer to me that everybody wins in this scenario. I guess there's always hacks, and I
Yeah.
don't know those hacks, I guess, but there's always hacks for people to get around things. But yeah, it's only beneficial to the creator for us to spend money on ads as a seller.
Well, and that's what never made sense to me when some of the affiliates would tell me they charge for Spark codes. I was
Makes no
like,
sense.
you're charging the brand to make you sales? Like, I mean, I understand that I can see where they're coming from. Like, oh, they're using my content as advertisement. But yeah, but while they're doing that, you're getting commission. So I have always been I give mine out for free. And people are like, well,
Yeah,
what if one of my Spark codes generated me 80 grand of the money I made? It was the
yeah,
top converting video this company ever had. They still run it as an ad to this day.
that's
And I
awesome.
was like, what would have happened if I told them I charged $500 for a Spark code and they said no? I would have missed out on all of that money. So I'm full believer in Spark codes.
No, I'm on the same page as you. We spent 5 grand on ads for one product yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And so most of that went to one creator. So
Yeah.
she probably made $1,000 yesterday on commissions from me spending 5 grand on ads, which she wouldn't have
Exactly.
made organically. That is completely irrelevant of the organic. So for me, I feel like there is a lot of misinformation, especially in the creator community,
Hmm.
because the smart creators we've worked with, we've said, hey, we're going to run ads on this. They give us a code. It has some success, and we're like, hey, can you create more ads? You already have the product. They create more content. They create more content. We run more ads. We test
Yeah.
everything that works well.
Well, and a lot of people are so stuck on the like sometimes charge flat fees to post a product. Like I get 1,000 emails a day asking me to post your product.
I'm sure you do.
If it doesn't catch my attention and I don't want it, I'm not going to talk about it unless you
Yeah,
pay me. And if you pay me, I'm not going to talk about it unless I really want to and I like it.
yeah.
If there's been plenty of paid collabs I've had to cancel. So, I think I totally lost my train of thought here. I'm
We're
so
talking
sorry,
about
Rob.
like trying to get people to create more content, get the spark codes.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, I think some people just get so stuck on that, and like that company that made all that money off of that ad code, they were like, "Hey, can you create more content?" Heck yeah,
Yeah,
I'll create it right now. Like you
yeah,
guys are
yeah.
sparking me 100,000 views a day. I will create as much content as you want. So yeah, I don't understand that. I personally, flat fees are nice, but the risk and the knowing what you can make off the commission, in my opinion, is better.
Well, and I think you touch on something else. You're getting a lot of views, which some of those people are going to turn into followers. Like that's an
Yeah.
ancillary benefit that I don't hear any creators really talking about. Is like you're getting tons of views and exposure. You're
Hmm.
getting more exposure to followers. You're getting more exposure to brands. You're
Yeah.
getting so that moves you up. The more revenue you do, all sellers I know use software. We all look
Hmm.
at the top creators. We look at the
Yeah.
creators in Callow Data, Fast Moss. That's how we find creators that we want to work with, right?
Well, I will say if you look me up, my backup account's been doing better for the last couple months. So,
Is that right?
yeah, my backup account has been performing better. My backup account with 10,000 followers
Huh.
has performed better than my main account with over 100 for the last 5 months straight.
Why do you think? Do you have any idea why that is?
But this is another thing I wanted to touch on with
Yeah,
what you just said about the followers. I think the reason a lot of us creators don't touch on that is because in reality, it's not super important.
that's fair.
I think 5, 10 years ago, before shop, before affiliate programs, followers were super important because that's how people made their brand deals. But another girl that took a one-on-one with me in March, she just quit her job. She has less than 5,000 followers. She's in the last 6 months made over 5 figures every single month. So I really don't think followers have to do with the amount of revenue, and that is why a lot of creators aren't so like caught up in the follower count as much nowadays.
I do agree with you that we've seen, I mean, if you look at all the top affiliates, most of them don't have a ton of followers.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is the content, it is the creation portion of it that's more important than, and the way the algorithm works, right? If it
yeah,
works, they're going to serve it to whoever they think is going to buy, not necessarily
exactly,
your followers. It's different than like Instagram or Facebook used to be, right? When you had groups and things
exactly,
like that. So
exactly,
I do think it is different, but there are a lot of ancillary benefits of getting more GMV and getting, in addition to the commission, I think, right?
exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Creates more opportunities. So next question for you is, what's next for Malina? You got a main account and a backup account. Super smart, by the way. So what's
Yeah.
next for you?
I'm not super sure. I do as of yesterday, and currently sitting in my content room.
Okay.
But as of yesterday, I am gonna have a content house, but it's
Ooh.
actually a camper. It's not a whole house.
Okay.
But I've quickly outgrew this room with free samples. So I am excited about that to be able to expand a little bit more, have a little bit more room for filming and things like that.
Okay.
And I definitely I'm absolutely terrified of being one of those people that like hits the lottery and then 2 years later they're broke. So I'm terrified of that. So I am heavily, heavily, heavily taking advice from financial advisors and things like that. And
Okay.
I definitely want to get into real estate
Okay.
and investing my money long term.
That makes sense to me. What
Mhm.
about be careful, by the way, with financial advisors. I mean, I know some good ones and some that maybe not that great. So just be extra careful with financial advisors. They've got,
It's it's my
they're
dad's best friend.
okay. Well, that
It's my
might help.
dad's best friend, and he's very, very, very knowledgeable. He's been doing it
Okay.
for years. But
Good.
he may not give the best advice to other people, but just knowing that my dad is his best friend, I don't think he'd give bad advice to
That's
me.
great. No,
Yeah.
that's great to hear. You also
Yeah.
mentioned before we started recording that you started doing your own selling, like you create your own seller shop.
Yes, yes. So I did create my own merch line. I actually have some of them right here. So they were all like CEO, like female related.
Okay.
But dropping my merch line, I will admit, made me realize that most people follow me for my brain. And they
Hmm.
want to purchase my knowledge. They don't necessarily want a t-shirt. But I did just launch these. This one says raising babies, building businesses.
I like it.
A couple of them, like this one says mamapreneur.
I like that.
One of them says like entrepreneur her. So they were all kind of based around like CEO, boss, things like that. Yeah.
Sure. What's been your experience trying to create a selling shop?
It's so much different. It is a lot different than the affiliate side. I was telling Rob before this podcast, I said for the affiliate side, I kind of figured it all out myself. I didn't need a course. I just did it all. But the seller side, I had to buy a guide. Like I was that
Yeah.
clueless. And there wasn't a lot of instruction online that I could find. And there was a girl that had a thriving shop. So I said, I'm going to buy her guide. And it did help a lot, a lot. But I am doing more, it's just t-shirts right now. So it's drop
Yeah.
shipped through Printify.
Yeah.
But the profit margins are quite obviously much, much higher than an affiliate. So pros and cons to both.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot more moving parts. I mean, you're doing the good job shipping easier route, right? As opposed to like holding inventory, trying to figure out
Oh yeah,
demand,
I could never. Yeah.
buying sizes, all that kind of. I mean, that's clothing is a lot of returns, obviously, in apparel. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. I've been into TikTok shops for a while and really researching it. So, a buddy of mine, Brian, and I, we've been in the e-commerce space and had our own brands for a long time. So we just started
Mhm.
our own group because of what you said. So we just reached out to a couple dozen friends and said, hey, we're going to start a community on school and build this out. And so we called it Talk Domination. And we
Mhm.
just started it like last week. So we got a bunch of,
Really?
yeah,
Okay.
because
Well, tell
these
your
guys have
friends
all
about
had,
evolution.
yeah, these
Oh
guys
no,
are all
this is for the seller side.
seller side. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Not
okay.
for the creator side, for the seller side. So these guys are all successful e-commerce brand owners that are either want to get their current brand or a new brand onto TikTok Shop. So because
Hmm.
it, like you said, it is kind of hard. I mean, we dealt with a lot of like hiccups, let's call them,
Yeah.
on the platform. And
It was,
so there's a
yeah,
lot to learn from that.
there's a lot to learn from that. Now your is this a paid community or this
Yep.
just paid
Talk
community?
Talk Domination paid community on School. We put it on School because it's got the best platform, I think. Like I know a lot
That's
of.
where Evolution's hosted.
Oh,
School.
is it really? Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's by far the best platform. I mean, Discord, I can't find anything when I'm in there. I'm in a bunch of Discord groups and
same.
I
It's
can't
very
ever
confusing.
I
I
can't
know.
find anything in there. So you talked about like the fear, and I think this is common, right?
Hmm.
People start an entrepreneurial journey, they're making money, and it's like, okay, will it last? And to
Hmm.
be clear, I've had ups and downs. I've made money, I've
Hmm.
lost money. Nobody has a straight line that I know
Hmm.
up in as an
Yeah.
entrepreneur.
No.
So there's a lot of ways I mean, that's why the course is so popular for people because it's a way to like monetize their knowledge.
Hmm.
But it's not consistent, right? It's usually a one-time thing. I think Evolution's a one-time thing. It's not an ongoing cost, right?
Yeah, it's a one-time fee, not a
Okay.
monthly fee. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas like a community is more of an ongoing
Hmm.
monthly fee, right? And
Hmm.
so that is an option for you to consider is like, do you want to have your own community where you charge some nominal amount per month? And because
Yeah,
it does change a lot, Malina. I mean, I feel like it's moving so fast that
I know.
content needs to be updated regularly. Like we're having a weekly call in our group and it's unbelievable. Like we had our call on Thursday. It's Tuesday today. I can't believe how much has changed in 5 days. It's unbelievable.
I know. We do have to update the course a
Okay.
lot. We've had to update it. We've had to update it 3 times since March.
I believe it.
Just with new changes. So yeah, definitely you do have to update. I do think that is one of the cool things about the fact that it is a one-time fee.
You
Is
like
just
that.
the fact It's just the fact that they only pay once, but they do get all the updates. They do get all of the live Zoom sessions. And obviously, I'm sure they pay a little bit more upfront than they would for, say, a monthly fee, but it's no monthly fee. So, but then as the creator or the affiliate or whatever, you're not making passive income. So, I mean, I see both. I see both sides.
Yeah, I don't think there's any one right answer to that. I was thinking
Yeah.
more for yourself as you
Yeah.
think about the kind of what's next. How do you build a consistent, sustainable income with the
Hmm.
knowledge you've acquired over the last couple of years? That's kind of the question I have in my mind. And you've got a
Yeah.
lot of different ways to tackle it, right? You could do one-on-one coaching, you could do a
Yeah.
group, you could be an affiliate for a course. There's a lot of good options you have. These are all
Yeah.
good first world problems, right?
Yeah. I think one thing that I've really, really hammered on this summer and learned, so typically when I make my digital product sales, so my product sales are all for TikTok Shop are all videos.
Okay.
My digital product sales where I sell courses or guides or whatever, those typically all come from live. So I'm on live. And
Okay.
was I making really good money? Incredible money. But I looked at my live for the month of July. I was on live 44 hours that month,
Wow.
which I mean is a lot, but
For live
not a
it is.
ton. Not a ton, but that's 11 hours a week I was spending on live. So the month of August, I really, really hammered on like growing my email list and
Mhm.
hitting those emails. And I cut my live time in half, and my sales on digital products didn't fall much at all.
That's
So I
good.
was like, okay, so I do think that a big key to sustaining this long time is my email list.
Yeah.
If TikTok goes anywhere, I've got so many people on an email list that I can say, hey, I'm on Instagram now. Hey, I'm on YouTube now. So I think the biggest thing with like this being sustainable long term is having something that's not to one platform. Like
Mm.
TikTok shop is all TikTok. So I think the email list for me was the part that was like, okay, now that I've got everybody in a spot that I can move them if I want to move them, that's when I felt confident in doing this long term.
Do you use like a stand store for your digital
Yeah, I have
stuff?
Stan. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That seems they dominate the market. It seems like everybody has a stand store.
Yeah, they do. It's a sensitive topic and like we didn't talk much on the digital side of
Let's
things,
talk
but
about. Do you have a minute to talk about digital?
oh, I mean I can. Yeah, the digital side of things is just very, very nasty. Very
Tell me what you
nasty.
mean.
Just people that sell like the courses that teach digital products, like how I sell one. I made my own. It's 97 bucks. I don't really hammer it hard. It's not my expertise, but I have one if people want it. But that side of things is just nasty. On Instagram threads, there's haters, there's you're doing this wrong, you're not doing that. There's people stealing people's income claims. It's just really bad. There's false income claims. There's people telling you they've made $1 million on TikTok Shop and their showcase says 3 products sold.
Yeah.
So just in general, it's just a nasty space. I don't like being in it.
Yeah, I would say that it's my experience is there's a lot of fly by night people in the digital information space, I'll call it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because
Mm-hmm.
they fake. I see a lot of those fake income claims.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go
Yeah.
look up it. I can go use Calodata or Fastboss and look up anybody's GMV.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Exactly. Well, most of these people aren't even doing TikTok Shop. They're selling. It's the MRR thing where they
mm,
sell a course that teaches you how to do digital products. But most of them, if I ask them, like, hey, what have you learned? Like, what have you learned from like what the course taught? Well, I've resold it 5 times. I'm like, I know, but like, what did the course teach you to sell? Like, and they can't ever answer. So, yeah.
yeah,
So you're
yeah,
selling a course that teaches me how to sell digital products, but you don't even have a digital product to sell. It just doesn't make sense to me, but that's besides the point.
yeah. I kind of have a love hate relationship with courses myself
Me
because
too.
I do think I like going through them and I like getting the content.
Mm-hmm.
But if the content is changing regularly, I found more value, at least personally, in my business by being part of a mastermind, be part of a small group of people who are committed to it, where we can help each other. That's what I've found to be the most valuable thing. I started one like 7 years ago in e-commerce, and we get together and we share what's working, what's not working. That's who we went to TikTok Shop headquarters
That's
last
awesome.
week. So we got
That's
a meeting with
awesome.
TikTok, we had a meeting with Amazon, we go meet with executives. That's really the values. We all kind of help each other, and
Yeah.
it's a small, tight knit group, and that's been really, really valuable for me.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing is we have mentioned doing like an evolution mastermind. I
Mm,
don't know. But as far as next steps, I've definitely thought about more of like a high ticket, personalized
mm,
like mentorship thing. Uh but I want to do it for someone for free first to have proof. Anything I sell, I like to have proof. Like I like
okay,
proof of concept. I want to know that what I'm teaching works. So I want proof of concept. So before I would sell it to anybody, I would do it to someone for free
and
just
do
to
it like a
see.
case study.
Case that like just proof like with the mentorship it would be like, each day these are the products you need to post. These are when you need to post them. It would be like very detailed. These are the hooks you need to use. It would basically I'm doing all the work for you essentially, in my
Can I have
opinion.
somebody on my team sign up for that, Melina, and be your case study?
Be the free one.
And I'll pay you. I happily pay you. Honestly, I've got a couple of young people on my team who are going to school for social media. They've been working for me for a while, so they do some like content for the brands.
Yeah.
But I volunteer Alexis on my team for that.
Okay. Well,
If you're
I'll let you
serious
know when
about
I
it,
decide. I
yeah.
do want to do it. I told my friend, I said, I think I don't want to do it till next year because
Okay.
Q4 of TikTok Shop, I definitely want to focus on TikTok Shop. I mean,
Okay.
that's what made the moolah last year. So I'm
Yeah.
putting
Yeah.
a lot of effort into that, but I don't know. We'll see. But I'll let you know if I do.
I think that's super smart. By the way, I
Yeah.
know I'm not going to mention their name of another group that is charging a, a lot of money, a fair amount of money to do one-on-one coaching, and they do 8 half-hour one-on-one coaching calls for half hour each week for 8 weeks
That's it.
for $3,000.
See, I would just feel like I'm robbing someone doing
Well,
that.
hold
I mean,
on. Now, I'm going to convince you might want to do this sooner rather than later because think about that. If okay, as a business owner, there are no groups, no courses for brands. Like that's why we started this mastermind, is
yeah.
because there's nothing to learn. So when I started learning, if it would have saved me 3 months or 4 months or 6 months to get shops up and running, I would have paid a bunch of money as a business owner.
No, I get it. I get it. It's possible to sell. It's definitely it's possible to sell. I'm sure I could sell it if I wanted to. And now
That's
that
what
you
I'm
say
saying.
that, 8 Zooms a month. I mean, Lord.
That's
Um,
easy.
that's easy. Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
definitely want to do something like that. I definitely struggle with imposter syndrome sometimes. Like, can I actually do this? Do I actually know what I'm talking about? Have I just been lucky? But I think it was once I hit a year, I was like, okay, you've made 5 figures a month for a year. There is no way that was luck. Like, there had to be some work there,
Yeah.
some strategy.
Malina, I'll tell you this. A lot of the people that I've interviewed that are affiliates in the last couple of months have said the same thing to me. It's
Yeah.
very common to have that like imposter syndrome. And I think everybody, especially when there's entrepreneurs, you're starting out your first business, you're making a couple bucks. Did I get lucky? Did I
Yeah.
make, are you sell a business even? Did I get lucky? Was it just right time?
Yeah.
And in all fairness, there are quite a few people out there that were right place, right time, and
Yeah.
they can't do it again. Right. And that was it. That was a one hit
Yeah.
wonder. And that's fine too. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But like,
Yeah.
if you've been that consistent in performing, I think you've got a good handle of what's working. And what I tell people all the time is there's no guarantee it's going to work. It's just increasing
Yeah.
the probability that it's going to work. And that's what
Yeah.
you're trying to do.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, this has been wonderful. So thank you so
Yes.
much for
Thank you for
taking the
having me,
time.
Rob.
I volunteer. I'll even pay for the case study for my employee to do it. Because we're trying to figure out how to do a better job ourselves on our brand side and our content side. So that would help us from a hooks perspective, from creating better content for the brand.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big unlock, because most of the creators, we've sent out thousands of samples, Malina, and I'd say most of the videos we see are not good.
No, they're not. They're not. Myself included when I first started. I
Yeah, of
posted
course.
one of them a couple weeks ago. I said, you guys always want to know. It was on my like flashbacks. I was like, you guys always want to see my videos. This is one of my first videos. It was terrible. But you can't not get better if you are putting in a certain amount of hours a day. It's impossible. You have to get better. And that's just the part that people forget. So
I tell people all the time, go look at Mr. Beast's first videos when he was a teenager.
exactly.
They're terrible.
Exactly.
Nobody
Yeah.
starts off at level 100. Everybody
Exactly.
starts off lower, and if they put the work in, they get better. And
And I
that's
think,
the
sorry,
progress.
go ahead, Rob.
No, I'm just saying that's progress.
And I think that is where the course and community comes from. And people are like, oh, you don't need a course. And I'm like, no, you don't. But it took me 6-7 months to go from 0 to 100, where I felt like I knew everything I was doing. The people that buy the course just don't want to spend that long. They just
Yeah.
want to get to 100 quicker. So they buy it out of convenience. So
I view getting in a community or getting a course as buying time. That's
exactly. You're buying time. Yep.
And
Precisely.
my time is more valuable than a small amount of money for me. So it makes sense to me.
Exactly.
And especially if you get around like-minded people who can lift you up and help build confidence and have the consistency and accountability, right? That's a big part too, like you talked about. So many people don't stick with it.
No, they don't. And a lot of people will say, well, do you think it's going to get oversaturated? And I'm like, no, because Jessica that started last week already quit. So there's so many people that quit, just as many that start are quitting. So no, I don't think it'll get oversaturated.
I'm going to tell a really quick story on this. When I first started doing e-commerce, I was doing drop shipping for a couple of years. And then I bought a course, ASM. I think it might still be around, but it was one of the early iterations. It's like 10 years ago. And I went to a conference. It was a course online, but then it was a conference in person. And I went thinking everybody was going to be as experienced as I was. I've been selling for a few years. I was aggressive. I have a corporate background. And I went, and I bet 80% of those people never launched a product, never created a product, never did anything with it. They paid for a course, went to a conference, and never ordered a product and never created their own brand.
No.
Most people don't follow through.
No, they don't. And it's just crazy to me. I'm like, you're going to spend this money on a course. I mean, at least use it.
Yeah. At least
but
try.
There's a lot. There's a lot of people that they've noticed they can look. I think on school you can look and see.
Yes.
And it's like someone has bought it and they've never even went through a module. It's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? Well,
yeah.
I want to say thank you so much for taking the time. If I can ever help with any of this stuff, please let me know. I'm always happy to help, especially on my side of things. But again, Malina, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you so much, Rob. Have a good rest of your day.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with friends. And if you're an entrepreneur interested in coming on the show, visit therobgreenshow.com to get in touch. Stay curious and never stop learning, improving, or growing.